Hey everybody, and welcome to the second season of Poison Mushroom, the show where I play some of the shittiest games of all time. This week, I'm gonna be playing Pimp My Ride for the Xbox 360. Whew, where do I begin? In case you're lucky enough not to be familiar with it, Pimp My Ride was an MTV show that ran in the mid-2000s when mediocre rapper Exhibit and his team of automotive gurus took beat-up cars and quote-unquote pimped them, usually by adding as many plasma screens and mini-fridges as they could. It's probably most famous now for inspiring that Exhibit meme where he mentions putting an X in your X so you can X while you Y. Nowadays, people don't think about Pimp My Ride very much, so imagine my surprise when I found a copy of this sitting on the shelf at my local used game graveyard. I paid 13 bucks for this piece of garbage, so without further ado, let's just get started. So the game opens with Exhibit explaining the absurd premise of the entire game.
You see this? Here, it's my city. It's called Pimp City, and Pimp City's pretty tight.
Ah yes, Pimp City, founded in the late 17th century by Dutch bean farmer Nigel von Pimpenbottom. Seriously though, Pimp City? Who's the mayor? Snoop Dogg? My favorite part of the scene is how lazy the animation and dubbing are. The motions Exhibit's mouth is making don't correspond to the words he's saying at the least. It's like in an old kung fu movie, they just don't match up at all. Yo dog, I heard you like Pimp My Ride, so we put an Xbox in your car so you can play Pimp My Ride while we're pimping your ride. The game itself is divided into two phases. First, we have the cash roam phase. Now obviously the question of how to make an interactive game based on a show that revolves around installing car stereos was a pretty difficult one, so the developers did what any other no-talent studio would do and ripped off ideas from better franchises. Accordingly, the cash roam phase is basically like a shittier Grand Theft Auto mixed with a minigame collection. You drive around Pimp City, which is about 20 square blocks, and complete tasks that give you money you'll eventually use to upgrade cars. Now there's three ways to earn that money. The first is by ghost riding the whip. Admittedly, growing up in small-town Canada, ghost riding the whip is a phenomenon that's a bit unfamiliar to me, but from what I can gather, it consists mostly of doing backflips in the middle of the street while your vacant car lazily rolls along beside you. In Pimp My Ride, this is accomplished by occasionally hitting a face button in time with the presumably royalty-free music track in the background. It's like Parappa the Rapper for dumb people. Somehow this gives you hundreds of dollars, which probably seems pretty unfair to the 7.5% of the American population that sit unemployed in their homes watching this depressing spectacle through their front windows with the curtains half drawn. Seriously though, why is everyone wearing the same clothes? Is this like Pimp City's uniform? Is this a free-thinking pimpocracy or an authoritarian pimptatorship? The second way to earn money is to holla. Again, being somewhat unfamiliar with the concept, I had to look up the term in a reputable dictionary, but apparently, to holla means to acknowledge a fellow companion, express interest in a particularly attractive female specimen, or to contact someone via telephone. I'm really not sure which of these is going on here, but whatever it is, I get about 500 bucks for it, which is pretty good for about 5 seconds worth of work. The final way to get cash, and by far the most effective, is to just crash into other cars. There's so much wrong with this that I don't even know where to start. I mean, obviously it's both morally reprehensible and lazy game design to reward players for crashing into other people, but beyond that, it's just completely contradictory with the premise of the show. The entire point of the show is that they take a shitty beat-up car and fix it into something nice. That's literally all they do. For the game to give you cash for damaging your own car makes no fucking sense. Honestly though, this is kind of a blessing in disguise because the cars handle so poorly that even if you were trying to drive responsibly, you'd inevitably end up committing multiple counts of vehicular manslaughter just getting from place to place. This game seriously has some of the worst physics I've ever seen. NPC cars have almost no weight. You can rear-end them and they'll fly 10 feet into the air. It's like Pimp My Ride was made by the Wachowski brothers. You can even hit cars so hard they leave the plane of existence, which is pretty good I guess, since it nets you about 200 bucks. The hilarious thing is that if you try to hit people, they'll just Usain Bolt out of the way. I guess the game has no problem encouraging you to get into car crashes that would either kill the other driver or leave them in a wheelchair, but hitting pedestrians is a big no-no. Once you've killed enough families and ghost-ridden enough whips, you get to the Exhibit meet and greet, where you're introduced to the ride Pimpy and how her piece of shit car is ruining her life. My favorite part of this is the ominous music they play at the start that makes it seem like Exhibit has come to her house to chop her up into tiny pieces.
What happened to your window?
Yeah, I got hit on the side so the door doesn't open. So that's how I get into my truck. You just have to be careful that the glass doesn't get you when you climb through.
Wait a minute, she actually climbs into her truck through the shattered back window? Even though there's broken glass everywhere? I think I know what we're gonna fix first.
Okay, you got business cards, bathing suits, a printer. What is it that you do again?
Well, I'm a swimsuit model and I go to school for fashion design. So I've got everything I need right here.
Okay, the bathing suits I sort of get, but the printer? What does she do with that? Does she bring it with her to school and plug it in? Surely her college has its own printers, right? Anyway, thus begins the second large phase of the game, the aptly titled pimping phase. This is basically the same as the cash roam phase, except now you're driving to auto body shops and installing various upgrades. True to the show, the upgrades you install are like Christmas gifts from distant relatives you never see. Marcia said she was a fashion student, right? What kind of absurd, vaguely fashion-related gadgets can we install on her truck? A sewing machine? A closet? Oh, how about a fully automated extending catwalk with included sound system and laser light show? I'm sure she's gonna have loads of fashion shows out the back of her fucking truck. Once you select your part, you usually just have to mash a series of buttons in a set amount of time to install it correctly. Pretty tricky, right? The pimping stage is just as monotonous as the cash roam phase, but at least it's mercifully short, with a 2-minute time limit that makes it impossible to upgrade more than 2 or 3 parts. After the time limit runs out, your car is revealed to the pimpy, but wait, there's a twist. While you were upgrading their car, a rival pimp was upgrading the same model, and the contestant has to choose between the two. Pretty scary stuff, but does the rival pimp's car have a disco abomination coming out of the back? Seriously, how would you even use this thing? It's like 4 feet long. The models would just fall off the edge. In the end, Marcia picks my car, of course, so you know, achievement unlocked, although it's not like it matters because I'll never play the game again, because Pimp My Ride is a complete wreck of a game that has pretty much no redeeming qualities beyond the fact that it's easy to make fun of. As always, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up or add it to your favorites, and be sure to check out my channel if you want to see more like this. In any case, I'll see you guys next week when I play Deadliest Catch Alaskan Storm. Thanks for watching.